Welcome, Kankakee Podcast audience. Today we have Dr. Teresa Lance, who is the superintendent of Kankakee School District. Can we give her some applause? Go be on the back here. And I am JaHana Holloway, and I was here last year in the opposite seat, so I know how she feels right now. I was interviewed by Mr. Derek Grant, none other than Derek Grant, who did a great job. And then now I am here as a guest host with Dr. Lance. So how are you feeling so far right now?
Yeah,
Just how are you feeling?
So far, so good. It feels good to meet you and
too.
To learn that you were a teacher in the district. We're going to talk about that later, though.
I was a teacher in the district.
Yes, ma'am.
And I loved it. Actually, I really did. I loved it. I met you. I don't know if you remember when we met.
No.
At the boat club.
Oh,
because
wow.
Stevie Hunter kept talking about you. I have to, Dr. Lance, you got to meet Dr. Lance. So he brought you to me.
Yes.
So yes, I met you there, and I'm glad I'm able to interview you. So thank you for being here.
Absolutely.
And thank you, Kankakee Podcast, for having us too. I meant to say that too. So thank you for giving us the platform for this interview.
Yeah.
So this is really just a conversation.
Okay.
Dialogue. It's not an interrogation.
Okay.
You know, so I came up with a few questions.
All right.
And then the community has their questions.
All right. This is going to be fun.
Oh, yeah. You already know how it's about to go. So my first question before I even start with anything else is, why Kankakee?
Oh, wow.
And what I mean by that, not in a bad way, but you're not from the area.
No, I'm not.
So what made you see Kankakee superintendent opening and say, you know what? I'm going to apply for that. Why Kankakee?
Yeah, I love that question. And it's not the first time that I've been asked that question, as you can imagine.
Right.
I was asked that question in my interviews because I had multiple interviews with the Board of Education. But the reality is that Kankakee is really, there's so much promise here. In my listening and learning sessions, I heard people speak so lovingly about Kankakee, referring to Kankakee as a family, as a community. And the reality is, it is that, because that's how folks made me feel. No one has made me feel like an outsider. They may have said, you're an outsider, but no one has treated me like an outsider. But to answer your question, one of the things that I look for are the needs of a school district needs that I can potentially fill. So I'm not looking for a superintendency just to be a superintendent.
Right.
Been there, done that.
Oh.
But do I have the strengths? Yeah, go ahead.
2 snaps. I got to give you your snaps on that.
Do I have the strengths that may help propel Kankakee School District even further? Okay. Right? So I follow behind a superintendent of the year and Dr. Walters. She was sitting in the seat for 10 years. Yeah. And so I'm just trying to elevate all the things that she and her team were doing. So Kankakee, again, a lot of promise. I love the students. I love the staff members, the community members, the partners. So far, it's been an amazing and fast 8 months.
I bet.
Yes.
We just talked about that.
Hello.
It's already March.
Come on.
Already March.
Yes.
Yeah. Which I have a question. Actually, that's my next question.
Okay.
So what are some challenges that you have faced as a superintendent, and then also go into some of the victories that you've had as well?
Since I've been here?
Yes, since you've been here.
Oh, wow. Victories. I'll start with victories.
Okay.
Again, I think the first is walking in. Not from the state of Illinois and not even from Kankakee community, but people received me, really warm, embraced me from the very beginning. That in and of itself is a victory because they could have said, look, this is an outsider. She's coming in with new ideas. But I didn't do that. I really was intentional with listening to people, asking questions, getting to know as much as I possibly could before I started to think about what are the things that are needed. So victory 1 is really holding true to listening and learning. The second victory is I committed to making sure that we put a licensed teacher in front of every one of our 4,600 plus children. Okay, and so we are well on our way to make that happen by 2027, that every single student will have a licensed teacher in front of them. So that's another victory.
That is.
Right?
Yep.
Another victory is that I have a Board of Education who has said to me, listen, You need to find out what's going on. You come to us with your recommendations and we'll support it.
Mm-hmm.
So one thing that the board just approved is a curriculum audit. So we're going to just turn things upside down to assess and evaluate our curriculum.
Mm-hmm.
What are we putting in front of our children? Are we teaching our children grade level standards? What are the tasks that we're asking our students to engage in? And then this audit is going to leave us with some recommendations.
Those are great victories. I actually had a question about what you said as far as your victory with the audit. Why did some people view it as something negative when they saw that there was a curriculum audit? There was kind of like some pushback I witnessed.
You did?
Words. Just some words like wondering about why is the curriculum. You didn't see it?
No, I didn't. Tell me something you heard. Or
see, look, I ain't the one to gossip, but
tell me what you heard. I'm curious.
Honestly, I just heard people or saw, not say heard, but like, I just saw a certain post when people were saying like, why is there a curriculum audit?
Yeah.
So I guess that was probably a question that the community had. Like, is it something negative about the curriculum that required it to be audited?
Yeah. So this is no different than what you would do for a budget audit. So I'm a new superintendent coming in, and we want to account for every dime and nickel in terms of revenue and expenditures.
Yeah.
So we do an audit on our finances every single year. So it's no different from our curriculum. So now listening and learning sessions, what we heard overwhelmingly is that some of our curriculum is antiquated, it's outdated, that we haven't touched the curriculum in a number of years. And so to have internal folks evaluate and assess the curriculum that they're charged with implementing, that's not something that you want to do because bias creeps in. So you get an outside organization to come in where they have the time and the expertise to do that. So they're going to look at our curriculum, they're going to go into our classrooms, they're going to interview our teachers, our parents, family members, and our students.
Good.
Right? And so we don't have the time to do that, nor do we have the expertise to go in. But the main thing why we do the curriculum audit is so that we will receive at the very end of this audit recommendations. And those recommendations will help guide us as we look to do right by kids.
And I love that the parents and the students also have.
Absolutely.
And the teachers.
Absolutely.
Everybody has to say so.
That's right.
Okay. You mentioned listening and learning sessions. I did want to ask about that. What does that consist of? Is that just you and the board, or is that you and the staff, you and the parents? What does that consist of, a listening and learning session?
Yep. So I did it in different forums. So one is I had one-on-one sessions. So started with the board members. So even though 7 board members interviewed me and hired me, I didn't have an opportunity to sit down with them one-on-one. Okay. To hear from them what are the strengths and challenges that they thought existed in Kankakee School District. So those questions I asked of the board, I asked of central office leaders, I asked of school principals, and then I met with parents, family members, community members in the auditorium at LCC. And I posted up a thought exchange QR code. We even pushed it out, and they were able to tell me what they believe were the strengths and challenges of our school district. And so I walked away with just the wealth of information to help guide the work.
Okay.
So listening, looking at the documents and the resources that we had. Like we even did an HR audit. I didn't mention that.
No, you didn't.
No, we had an HR audit. And that HR audit also told us a lot about what we were doing well and in areas to improve. So, for example, we don't have a true onboarding system. So think about a new employee walking into our district. Let's pretend they walked in they got hired today, start tomorrow. There's no onboarding. We just put them in the classroom and we say, get to work, right? But the audit said, you really need a system to onboard your staff. And we fully agree.
Yeah.
So in our new org, we'll have a coordinator of professional learning. So everyone who walks in our district will receive onboarding. So I never would have gathered that information had I not had that audit and asked questions of individuals who currently work in our district.
Yes. And so I love how you had the listen and learning sessions, but you also applied it as well.
That's right.
Instead of just, oh, okay, I heard what they said and dismiss it.
That's right.
And also with HR, I agree because first impressions is everything.
That's right.
And so you're starting somewhere and then you're, like a fish out of the pond. You don't know what to do.
Mm-hmm.
And so I love that you now have the onboarding.
Yes. To
go, and then people can feel at ease, and feel more confident
that's right.
in their role.
That's right.
So that's going to help tremendously.
That's right.
And we didn't get to your challenges
No, we
either.
didn't. No, we didn't. Wow, challenges.
So any challenges? Any challenge. It doesn't even have to be anything.
Yeah. No, you know what? I wish I could say that there were no challenges, but there were challenges. It's no secret that one of the challenges was in our human resources department.
Okay.
So I was hearing overwhelmingly that people were applying for jobs and they were not getting contacted. So we were losing candidates. Because we were not responsive. And so that was a significant challenge. So we're starting the school year and we don't have a teacher in front of every set of students, right? Mm-hmm. So one of the challenges, that meant that I now had to have my assistant superintendent of curriculum and instruction, myself, we're asking folks, do you mind leaving your classroom where you had already set up and go to another building? So you can imagine, folks were like, this is not something that I want to do.
Right.
And a couple of them, and I'm so grateful, a couple of them said, yes, we'll do it. And some said no, and they left. So that was a challenge. Yeah. So now we have to worry about, we got this vacancy over here, and then we have another vacancy because an individual said, no, I'm not going, I'd rather leave. And they left. But for me, it doesn't matter what zip code, what side of town you live in or working in Kankakee, our children are our children.
Yes.
Can I get a snap?
Can we get, Get
our children are our children. It doesn't matter. We got love on children regardless of what school they're in.
Yeah.
So, yes, it was disappointing that they left, but it told me something, unfortunately, about character.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm looking for people who love kids and want to do right by children.
Yes.
And so I'm grateful for the individuals who have stayed, who are committed, and who want to come back to Kankakee. But that was our number one challenge.
Okay.
Yeah, number one challenge.
And that's major.
Yeah.
So next, there's this quote that says, with great power comes great responsibility.
Ooh, honey. Yes.
So my question to you is, with your position, your power, your responsibilities, how do you handle and manage all of that, knowing that in some people's eyes, you may be the villain, and in other people's eyes, you may be the hero.
Right.
So how do you manage such great responsibility?
Wow, I appreciate that question. I really just try to stay grounded in my faith. This is not a cliche, but I start every morning with prayer. I try to exercise 5 to 6 days a week before I come to work.
Good.
To try to stay heart healthy. And then I also have to remember that people are human. I'm human. And so if they are upset with the decision, they are upset with the decision and not the person.
Right.
So I'm also working on my emotional intelligences. So being aware of what I'm feeling in the moment. And so that's step one, being aware and then regulating those emotions, because I believe our people, our staff, our families, our students have been through a lot.
Yes, absolutely.
And I want to come in and I want to love on them. I want them to feel that when I walk through the hallways in the schools, when they see me out in the community. I don't want them to see the stress that I may be wearing or internalizing. So again, it's really just staying grounded as much as I possibly can.
Thank you. And I love that you said to be aware and regulate, because that's what we ask of our students.
That's right.
That's what you ask of your staff.
Yeah.
So then you're leading by example.
Yeah.
So I appreciate that. And I don't know if you read my question somewhere, I don't know if you saw me writing these questions, but you always you lead me right to the next one. So you told me how you start your morning. And my next question was, what does a day in the life of Dr. Lance look like from the morning to the evening, like from when you start all the way to the end?
There is no, honestly, it varies. So if you look at my calendar is color coded.
Okay.
So all things yellow are good because yellow means I'm in schools.
Okay.
If it's good. Red is my boss. That means it's important. Mm-hmm. It's a board meeting. It's a policy committee meeting. But I try to color code. So every day is different. Mm-hmm. My assistant, Rachel Thornton, she knows that my priority is to try to be in schools. But we've had to pivot on my calendar multiple times, mm-hmm. right? Because right. So what happened is when I came, people wanted to meet. So the beginning and the middle of my day, it was filled with meetings, and I was missing opportunities to be in schools. Mm-hmm. So we've shifted that so that we do the meetings in the afternoon or before school starts, as much as we possibly can. Yes. So that can be more in schools. That's the goal. Okay. But it shifts, right? It varies from day to day.
Of course. Yeah. But on a typical day, your goal and priority is to be in the schools.
It is. I mean, there's meetings. Mm-hmm. Like, let's see, today was just meetings. But guess what? I started in 2 schools, Kennedy and Kankakee High School. Mm. Then I went to the meetings.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Yeah. Because I can't change anything sitting in my office. No. I got to be where the kids and the staff members are.
You do.
That's right.
Boots some on
days,
the ground.
That's right. Some days I'm riding a bus. Some days I'm talking to bus drivers. Some days I'm talking to the staff in the cafeteria. It just varies, and I love it.
I love that. I love hearing that.
So maybe you'll come back because you love what you're hearing. I mean, I'm just saying.
You know what? We are going to talk.
Okay.
I want to switch gears, though.
Uh-oh.
And talk about young Teresa.
Oh.
So what was your childhood like? Like, what did you want to be when you were growing up? Your family dynamics? Anything you feel comfortable sharing about your childhood?
Listen, I'll try to talk about this without shedding a tear. Mm-hmm. I'm an only child. From Mount Vernon, New York, and I lost my mother a little over 2 years ago. She was a 2-time breast cancer survivor. Okay. And that 3rd time, unfortunately, God called her home. Mm-hmm. But I had a beautiful childhood, and because my mother, who did not go to college, she poured everything into me to send me to parochial school. And our conversations at dinner, they were not about what are you going to do after high school. Mm-hmm. It was, which college do you want to go to? So she was a feisty, short little woman, but the expectations were set high. Yeah. Only child, and my mother was the oldest of 12, and my aunts and uncles, they only had 1 child. So we grew up more like siblings than cousins. Isn't that something?
Yes.
Yeah.
Everybody only had 1?
Everybody. I know. I guess they said, you know what? We know what it's like. We're going to have 1 and we're done.
Wow.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Now that's unique. Normally it's like somebody in the family will have multiple.
No, 1.
1.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for sharing about your mom as well. And just meeting you, I could tell that she poured into you.
She did. Beautiful woman.
Yep, yes. I could tell. Another thing is like most educators pursue working with the youth because of their own childhood experiences. Like for me, I was bullied. I was an outcast in school. So that's how I became passionate about working with the youth. Mm-hmm. So my question is like, what were your school years like? Even, middle school, high school, college? What was your school years like?
Boy, you better turn off the camera and the mic. Oh, my gosh. Yeah. So, you know what? Ooh, I got in trouble a little bit.
Stop.
Just a little bit.
Just a little bit?
Not a lot.
Okay. What's a little bit?
Just a couple of suspensions.
Okay.
Yeah. You know what? I don't know. The people were picking on me. And I was trying to defend myself. That's my story.
And you sticking to it.
And I'm going to stick to it. That's it. But you know what? This is the truth. 5th grade. Got in trouble. Suspended. Mm-hmm. It's the first time I heard my mother cry.
When you were suspended?
Fifth grade. And I'll never forget it. And I heard her crying after she tore my hiney up. She's sitting at the kitchen table. She's crying. And she was saying, God, what am I going to do? She was calling on God. Okay. What am I going to do? She didn't have to cry no more. Because I didn't want to hear. I didn't want to be the one to break her heart.
Yes.
So I wasn't not an angel.
Right.
That fifth grade year, though, if she were here, she'd tell you about it. But my story getting into education was I love sports.
Okay.
And I was in college, and I thought I was going to be an attorney. That's what I went. I was going to study law.
Okay.
And I was bored out of my mind. So if my board president is watching this, forgive me. But I was bored. And my academic advisor said, you have to declare a major. What do you enjoy doing? I said, well, I like sports. He said, okay, PE. So I did PE. It's like, okay, what do you do next? He said, well, people teach. I said, ooh. So long story short, I said, wait, not yet. Applied for a fellowship, got my master's in health, and then it was time to get a job. And so I started my career in Baltimore City Public Schools as a teacher, and I was horrible.
As a teacher?
My first year, I tell people that story. I was absolutely horrible. But people poured into me and mentored me, and I never looked back. Never looked back.
So how long did you teach?
Well, this is my 30th year.
Okay.
In education, 30th or 31st. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Started in Baltimore City in 1994, I think. Wow. I'm getting old. Yeah.
The years go by.
They do.
And it's ironic how we never know where we're going to end up.
I know.
And could you imagine if you had became a lawyer, we wouldn't be sitting here.
No, we wouldn't.
The Kankakee would never have experienced you.
Yeah.
And so everything happens as it's supposed to.
That's right. I believe that.
I do too.
I believe that.
I do too. And what's a fun fact about you? I know you just said about your suspensions, but anything about you as an adult, what's something like a fun fact about you that people may not know?
PE major, but as a part of my physical education degree, you have to pass a swim test and a diving test.
Okay.
I didn't know how to swim, and I was afraid of heights. And this is my senior year, and I got to do a swim test and a diving test. So I had to learn, and I'm not even going to tell you the story of how they got me to not just learn how to swim, but how to dive. Because I have to, again, remember, I'm afraid of heights.
Right.
You got to go on that platform. It was amazing how they did that. But anyway, I did it. I passed.
Okay.
But I've never gotten on a diving board.
Since?
I'm not doing it.
No.
No. So fun fact is that I did not learn how to swim until I was just a young adult. And I had to do it to get my degrees. No turning back now.
Yeah. So do you love the water now? Like, will you go swimming all the time and all that?
No, not all the time. I love the beach. I love to sit by the pool.
Yeah.
But I'm not one of those get your head under the water. I can survive.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I can't save nobody. I save myself.
Absolutely.
Okay. All right.
Absolutely. So since this isn't live, since they can't call in, I made a post.
Oh, you did?
And I asked them what they wanted to ask you.
Oh, wow.
I did.
Rebecca didn't tell me this.
Good. I thought she was going to.
Oh, my goodness. You wait till I have a conversation with her. Oh, no.
Yes.
Okay.
So it's pretty much like I just call this segment Kankakee Sound Off. Because they get to ask you the questions that matter to them.
Okay.
So I'm going to go. We have about 7 or 8 questions, but some of them may be redundant. We'll see. So the first question. Are there any plans in the making to enforce more rigid security precautions for Kankakee School District to help students feel safer? And if so, how soon?
No, that's good because I just met with the Director of Safety and Security, Mr. Willie Hunt. We had a meeting today. Okay. And so a part of our conversation was what comprehensive training does he want to have for his security? Because what people don't know is that many of our security personnel have had no formal training. So it would be like me interviewing for the job, getting hired, but I've received no training, no certification at all. And so we're expecting our security personnel to walk in and know what to do the instant something happens, God forbid.
Right.
So we talked today about what is the comprehensive training that he would like for his safety and security. So we're going to work on, not we, but he is going to work on some ALICE training, some active shooter training. And then there's another organization that we're going to bring out over the summer. So all our security personnel will be immersed in multiple days of training before our students return in August. And then every month, because he already has these daily meetings with his security personnel, but those monthly meetings will be ongoing training. So the intent is that our security personnel, they know what to do when a crisis happens.
Yes.
Because we know across the nation, our schools are just not safe anymore.
No.
They're just not.
No.
Yeah.
No. And I love that they're going to have the in-depth training because that gives parents like a sigh of relief.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have 2 daughters. And so obviously, you send your children off to school and you want your children to come home from school.
Yeah.
So I get it.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
What are some disciplinary actions that can be implemented in order to make a better learning environment for the teachers who try to teach but can't because of troubled children and underdeveloped parents?
Wow. So this is what I say. We can't suspend our way to a positive school culture. I'm going to say that again because I believe this.
Please. Yeah.
We can't suspend our way to a positive school culture. Because I could suspend students all day, but the same students are coming back.
Yeah.
Suspending doesn't change behaviors. So we have to get to the root of why are children acting out? What are some of the root causes? So what I love about Rebecca is meeting her. She introduced me to a wealth of partners who can really help our staff members with those skills that our teachers, not just our teachers, but all of us need to engage with students who don't have the coping skills, who are not able to regulate their emotions. So they get angry and they're acting out.
Yeah.
And we're expecting our young children to know what to do, but we have to teach them that, right? So I think it's immersing all of us in trauma-informed practices because suspensions alone do not change behaviors. And in thinking about the adults, so I've been working with Kankakee Forgives and Dwayne Reed and several other organizations the past couple of months. And so we met with students, we met with high school students, and we asked them, what do you think we need to do to mitigate or eliminate some of the teen violence? And overwhelmingly, we were stunned, overwhelmingly, and it's the teenagers, our high school students, they said, you need to start with the adults. They were saying, our parents.
What?
Yeah. So I turned around to my friends at Kankakee Forgives and Dwayne Reed and all of them. I said, folks, we're doing this wrong.
Yeah.
We're doing this wrong.
Yeah.
We're focusing, hyper-focus on our kids when really we got to do this work simultaneously. What are we doing with our children? What are we doing with our parents? What are we doing as school staff? So it's like a wraparound services of support that we all need, not just kids.
Right.
It's all of us.
Yeah.
It's powerful. That's from the kids who told us that.
That's why I'm astounded.
Yeah.
And their awareness. Like
that's right. That's
this,
right.
Need, and they tell the truth.
They did.
So you need to go there. And I agree. Yep. I agree.
Yep.
Yep. And that's why I love when that question says underdeveloped parents because you have to, teachers do professional development, but you need it for parents as well.
Yeah.
Personal and professional. Okay. So the next one is, will there be a chance for the public to vote on the uniform policy?
That's awesome. So the policy, I love it because I don't generate policy. So the board, the school board, 7 board members, they are the ones who develop the policy. My job is to create the administrative procedures to ensure that the policy is followed. So if the community, the parents are not in favor of the uniform policy, then we encourage them to let the Board of Education know that. So they can write in a statement.
Okay.
They don't have to show up. They can actually write a statement, or they can make public comment. Also, we have policy committee meetings. They can attend a policy committee meeting, and that's where the board actually immerses themselves in the policy, and we talk about, do we want to make revisions or anything like that. But I would encourage our family and our parents to really just come to our policy committee meetings, write a statement or public comments. Yeah.
Yeah, and thank you, because I think a lot of people think it's on you. So I'm glad you cleared that up and said, that's the board.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I don't want...
I mean, no, you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Not like putting it off on them, but I'm saying
Right.
a lot of people think like you are the one, maybe she can change this policy, she can do, but I love that you gave them the actual steps to take.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep.
Next question. What are the plans to help get the district up to speed in regards to students' academic scores?
Curriculum audit.
That's what I was just thinking about that.
Curriculum audit. No, so this is not something that can be done overnight, right? So the curriculum audit is just one piece of it. Again, I'm not suggesting that licensed teachers are better than non-licensed teachers, but I can assure you that having certified licensed teachers in front of all of our students is a step in the right direction. So making sure we have a licensed teacher in front of every kid is number 2. Number 3, we have to be laser focused on what it is that we want in terms of tier 1 or core 1 instruction. Tier 1 core instruction. We got to be really clear. So, for example, we have academic priorities. And when I started, I said, these are the 3 things we're going to focus on. And now you can walk into almost any classroom. Note, I'm saying almost any classroom. Yeah. And you're going to see our teachers are going to have their learning standard posted, the learning objective, and the success criteria. So students should know what the expectations are by the time they leave that classroom. My teacher wanted me to learn this, and I know I've learned it because I can accomplish these things in the success criteria. So we have a goal by August 1st that 100% of classrooms that are observed will have standard learning objective success criteria, because students just like us, they need to know, where are we going?
Yes.
And why am I going?
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So we are, and I'm going to keep going because this is an amazing question, right?
It is.
Because all of our schools are designated either comprehensive, targeted, or intensive.
Yeah.
Except one, right?
Okay.
Except one. I see your face. Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Except one. So here's the thing. The other thing is the expectation is that our school leaders are in classrooms. When I started, the expectation is that you are in classrooms, a minimum of 10 classrooms a week, and you are documenting what you see, not for evaluative purposes, but to have coaching conversations. So 10 a week, right?
Yes.
And some people are like, why are you in my classroom? Because being in your classroom that's data for us. That tells us where do we need to put support, but it also tells us who are our exemplary teachers that we should be saying, can you model?
Yes.
Can you do some PD for us? Right? So the work that we have to do is going to be long. It's going to be hard. But guess what? We're going to do it. And we're going to turn this ship, SHIP, around.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes. Thanks for spelling it out.
That's right.
Yes. Turn it around. But so that was I'm glad that you gave that response, because I know from being an educator, the student scores is a big thing. And so to have that guidance and say, okay, this is what we're doing, this is what we're doing next. So I appreciate that.
Can I just add one thing?
Yeah.
Because this is important too. We're also doing a reorg. So the board just gave me the green light. We're going to do a reorganization beginning in August. So I'm looking to shift resources being people, into classrooms, into schools. So rather than us being heavy with directors who weren't in classrooms the way we would expect and want, we're going to bring 9 instructional coaches into our schools. 9 instructional coaches They don't have a teaching load. Their job, if you're the school principal or you're a teacher, you know you can call Rebecca because she's your math coach. And she can go in, she can model, she can pre-plan, she can do those things to help you. 9 compared to 0.
Exactly.
I'm not done.
Uh-huh.
These 9 instructional coaches, so we're going to do multilingual coaches, we're going to do special education coaches, and we're going to do literacy and math coaches. You see the specificity in the work?
Yes.
Because it has to be. Because when you loose, then it's loose.
And that's what it looks like. Loose. Mm-hmm.
That's it. That's it.
Yeah. You good on that?
I'm good.
Okay.
I'm getting fired up.
I know. That's what I'm saying. Yeah. That's why I'm glad I asked them for their questions.
Glad.
You know what I'm saying? Because I could ask questions all day, but what really matters is what do they want to know?
That's right.
So the next one is, which is great, probably ties into what you were mentioning. What suggestions do you have to combat teacher burnout? The lack of joy makes teachers and students not want to be there.
Yes.
Many times, and this is a very specific one, many times the teacher has given my child work to do while they spent the entire time on their cell phone, meaning the teacher. So what are you going to do to and I don't even know if this teacher burnout with the teacher being on their phone, but what will you do to combat that? I'll just put that out there.
Yeah. Combat teacher burnout.
Yeah, combat teacher burnout.
Teacher burnout is a real thing. So it's interesting because the principals, they were introduced to a new evaluation framework this year. And the first domain, there's 3 domains that they could be evaluated in: culture, learning, and systems. And we focused on culture. And in culture, it talks about wellness. Now think about what evaluation tool out there focuses on wellness.
Right.
So it's wellness, it's interpersonal wellness, but it's also wellness for your staff and it's wellness for your students. Because we really have to think about, are our staff members and are we well? Because if we're not well, we can't serve anybody. Remember how I told you I start my day?
Yes.
Right? So we have to make sure that we're taking care of our people. So when I'm walking in buildings, right, it is very much, how are you doing? You need anything? How are we treating you? How are we treating you?
So you're asking that of the
Yes, I am.
staff?
Yeah.
Okay.
So if we're walking down the hallway and we get to chit-chat, or we might not be able to chit-chat because you have a class. But if we can stop and talk, I'm asking you, how are you doing? Do you need anything? How are we treating you? And that's an opportunity for folks to just tell me. Right?
Have they been honest?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
We've also done chat and chew listening sessions. I think we have 3 left. And folks are very honest with me and my cabinet members about the things we're doing well and the things that we need to improve upon. And that's feedback for us to continue to get better.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Firsthand.
That's right.
Firsthand
That's
feedback.
right.
Yeah. Okay. So is that evaluation that's taking the place of that's the teacher evaluation?
That's the principal evaluation.
Oh, the principal evaluation. Okay. Okay. The next one, which is pretty much in alignment with the first one, with the one I just asked, what is being done to address the mental health challenges, trauma, and toxic stress of both the staff and the students?
Yeah, so I think I probably answered a little bit about that, thinking about wellness and then talking about trauma-informed practices.
For the students.
So we don't do enough of that when we think about professional learning. So I get like we're focusing on core and making sure that staff members know their standards, et cetera. But we also have to think about what are the trauma-informed practices. Rebecca, we have the Rise and Thrive partnerships. We also offer free therapy for our staff. I'm like, it's all a blur,
I know.
But we can do more. I just asked the principal, I said, what have you been doing for your staff? He said, well, I used to do free massages. I said, oh, that sounds nice. He says, yeah, but it's really expensive. So I have to find other things to do. So I wish we could do more massages. Wouldn't that be nice? I need to talk to Rebecca.
I was about to say, tap into the resource lady right there. She knows her stuff. And so, you did answer that too about the students. So, and I love this question because it says, in what ways can members of the community support school administration and staff because we want to take care of the people who are pouring into our community's future leaders?
Whoever asked that, thank you so much.
Right.
A couple of things, and I'm probably gonna miss it. I wish principals were here to put some bugs in my ear, but I would love if our parents, our family members would understand that during the school day, I need principals in classrooms and not meeting. So if it's an issue and it's not an emergency, if they could meet with the principal either before school or after school. So that's one. The second thing is, and this has actually exacerbated over the past few months. So our students, when they are involved in sports, their sporting events, unfortunately, our parents get real excited. And if we don't play their child or they get reduced minutes, they are acting uncivilly.
Okay.
Is that a word?
That is, yeah.
Okay. And so they're approaching our coaches and it's escalating and then we have to get them removed and banned. So I would just ask that they wait 24 to 48 hours before they want to meet with the coach as opposed to trying to approach them during the game. The other thing I would say is when we have our parent-teacher nights and our conferences, to show up. Now, I say that knowing that my mom, single parent, divorced when I was young, she didn't attend. She attended very few of parent-teacher conferences because she was working.
Right, yes.
So we also need to think about other ways that we can engage our family members for those who can't attend. But I would just say to be responsive to us, and then also be patient, understanding that we may not be able to get to you when you come up, especially if it's not an emergency. We're not trying to meet with our principals.
And so how do you constitute an emergency? Because to parents, it's an emergency.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So how would you constitute that as an emergency?
So, if a child is not hurt, if it's not a life-threatening emergency, those to me, those things can wait.
Okay, yeah.
Excuse me. Everything else can wait, not those things.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
If you want to talk to a principal about a teacher and how they graded an assignment, that can wait, right? If there's a child who's bullying your child, make an appointment. Absolutely. The expectation is that the principal is meeting with the parent.
Yeah.
Right? So it's just being considerate of some of those things that our principals are trying to navigate. Because I need them in classrooms. I need them monitoring and supporting our teachers. That is crucial if we're going to turn things around.
Right, and which in return, if the principal is supporting the teachers, then the students are being supported as well.
Exactly.
So,
exactly.
Yeah, so
exactly.
that ties in together. And then the last question is, there have been several concerns aired out on social media.
Okay.
Maybe about a specific classroom, a specific teacher, a specific school. And I love that helps other people become aware.
Okay.
Especially the people who, like me, I don't have children in the school district anymore. So it does raise awareness.
Okay.
But my question to you is, what would you tell them the next steps are? Okay, you aired it out. And you know what I'm saying? And I trust me, I get it. When people are saying you want to get it off your chest.
Right.
So you aired it out. And so now you have raised the awareness of other people in the community.
Yeah.
But what would you say the next steps would be? Like, if you really have those type of concerns, what should they do next?
Yeah, absolutely. We really just addressed a little bit, and that is schedule an appointment to meet with the school principal. If you're not feeling like you're getting results, by all means, elevate that to my office. If I can't meet with you, I will assign my assistant superintendent of teaching and learning or curriculum and instruction to meet with you. I've not turned away any parents. I've not said, I will not meet with you. So if they have met with the principal and they are not satisfied, they can absolutely reach out to my office. The other thing I would say is this. Social media, can be harmful. It can be helpful and it can be harmful. And so I'm also trying to build public trust and confidence in our schools. And so when we use social media as an outlet to talk about all the things that we're doing wrong, that is eroding trust. And that's not helpful. So I would much rather that our family members reach out and we have a conversation and not use social media in that vein. Since I've been here working with Rebecca Parks and Kay's Media, our staff members know we have been really intentional with flooding social media with all the good things because that stuff gets lost and we don't want it to get lost. So if our family members could help us elevate the good things too, I would absolutely appreciate it. So thank you, families, please. Thank you.
I love that. So go ahead and flood the timeline with the positive
please,
too. Because I have seen it's a lot of positive posts and the principles are being celebrated, everything. So, I agree with that. I agree with that. I know we don't have our claps right now, but we got to give our claps for you taking the time to answer those questions.
Absolutely.
And right along that last question, with the board meetings, can parents just come in there and kind of air out stuff, or is how does that work?
Right. So we have public comment. So family members or any community member that wants to make public comment, they're going to want to do it. They want to get there on time because at 7:00 we pull up the sign up sheet.
Okay.
So 7:00 we start the board meeting. So 6:50, 6:55, they want to be there, sign up, because at 7:00 we pull it so that the board president, he's going to call their names and say, okay, Rebecca Parks, you're up. Teresa Lance, you're up. And you get 5 minutes. The only thing is the board president is going to say that we don't say names. So if you have an issue or concern with Teresa Lance, you won't say, and that Teresa lady, we try not to do that. Yeah.
Right.
And then the other thing is the board can expect me to always follow up with a person or persons who've made public comments. And if it's not me, then I delegate that to one of my assistant superintendents. But we always try to close the loop with anyone who engages in public comments.
Okay.
Yep. So they don't feel like they're not talking in the air because we're not, based on formality, going to address every person who makes public comments.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so you do follow up?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And that's
every
good
single
to know.
one.
That's every single one.
Yes.
That's good to know.
Yes.
That's good to know. And I'm glad we are having this conversation because when I say people see things through a different lens.
Yes.
And so this is clarity so they know how to move forward.
That's right.
Okay. I just have a few more questions.
What? No, you don't.
Yes, I do. You doing good too. You doing good too.
Let me see what you got.
I'm almost done. But this, and I know you probably touched on this, but just to kind of sum it up, what does the overall future of Kankakee School District look like for you as far as what's your vision moving forward?
That's easy. We're going to be a destination district. We're going to be a destination district to the point where we're going to have a line of people who want to come back or get into our district. Our students are going to be soaring both academically and socially. Our students are going to have choices, college, career, or military. And if they choose career, it's going to be high wage, high demand. If they choose to go to college, they're going to persist through college, not fail out, and come home. If we have athletes, they're not going to be local legacies. They're going to go on. NFL, WNBA, NBA. We're going to be all things, a culture of excellence and a destination district. That is us.
Wow.
That's it.
See, now you're trying to get me to come back.
Come on.
To the destination district.
That's
I
it.
love that.
That's it.
Woo. Okay. Okay. So the teacher in me wants to do a quick game of word association.
Oh, boy.
I'm giving you 3 words. 3 words.
3 words.
And you just say the first thing that comes to your mind. Okay? First word. Fear.
Heights.
Which I was wondering if that was going to be your answer. You still afraid of heights?
Yes.
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 So do you fly? Or that's not a big thing?
I'm protected,
Yeah.
I'm not getting on a roller coaster.
Yeah,
you can hang.
Me either. So I'm not even tripping. Me either. Okay. So heights.
Yes.
Love.
Oh, my mom.
I see the smile as you say that too. The third word is Kankakee.
Amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Come on.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. And speaking of Kankakee being amazing, have you found like a favorite restaurant, festival, food, something since you've been here, something that you can kind of peg as like your favorite? I know you don't want to rule somebody out, but
yeah.
like, you know.
So listen, you put me on the spot, but here's the truth.
Mm-hmm.
I'm real plain. So I bring my lunch every day, and it's the same thing.
Every day?
Every day. Lunch and then breakfast, same thing every day. I eat when I get to work, when I have an opportunity, same thing. Yogurt with fruit and granola. Lunch, salad with tuna.
Every day?
Every day, Monday through Friday.
Wow.
But my favorite food is Italian.
Italian.
Yeah. Lasagna, spaghetti, baked ziti, give me some bread. Ooh.
Okay. I was like, wait a minute.
But you know, I'll tell you what was good. It's actually right here. Rigo's.
Oh, yes.
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 Shout out to Rigo's.
All right, Rigo's.
Yes.
We
might get some free
coupon.
food.
Yeah.
We might get the hookup after this. Okay. That's what I didn't mean to put you on the spot, but I'm glad you said that. And so when you said like the same every day, I was just thinking like, and then you said color coded. I'm thinking back to you're very structured. You're very organized. And that's something I aim to be. And so I love that about you. Actually, you might have to teach me some things. Color code some things, get some things organized. Yeah. But I do because especially with all the responsibility that you have, it's a must, I'm sure.
I'm going to tell you, though, I have an amazing assistant. She is amazing. I tell her, like, I'm so grateful that she stayed because she takes care of me. She protects my calendar. And if I touch my calendar, I have messed up. And she knows I have messed up because I've double booked and everything else. Yeah. But she helps me. She really does.
Shout out. Give her a shout out.
Shout out, Rachel.
Woo, woo. Rachel Thornton.
Yes.
I know because when I was reaching out for dates. And then Jake had gave me a date, a time or whatever. And then Rebecca reached out to Rachel and then she came back. These are the dates, these are the times.
Yes.
Pick one. I was like, oh, okay. Yeah. So, Rachel doing her job.
Yes,
She's doing her thing.
Yes, she is.
Okay. So, really, I mean, I appreciate you for being here. This was a great conversation. Like I said, it was a dialogue. It wasn't anything to be, intrusive or anything like that. So, as I close up, they normally, in Kankakee Podcast fashion, they normally ask you to give a message to the world. So I'll ask you, what's your message? You could either say to the world, to the community, to the district, whoever you want to send that message to, and then what is the message?
Yeah, so to everyone who is watching, listening, here is my message. And I typically close my messages with this. Thinking about Kankakee School District, hope starts here, but more importantly, hope starts with you. Y'all take care. Thank you.
Oh, I love that. That's just like, hey, get to the point.
Yeah.
Hope. Thank you all so much for watching and listening. This was a great episode.
Thank you.
This was my first time hosting, and I'm glad I was able to do it with Dr. Lance. How was it for you?
It was amazing. You were awesome. Give me some.
You. All right.
Give me a contract. She's coming back.
Hey,
she's coming back.
I'm coming back. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I know when we first started, we both were like, but now this is it. It's a wrap. Take care, y'all.
All right. Peace.
Woo! I love everything.
That concludes this episode of Kankakee Podcast. I'm Jake Lamore. Thank you so much for listening. Please tap that subscribe button if you haven't already. You can follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn at Kankakee Podcast. Shout out to Jeff and Rosa Carroll for supporting the show each month through Patreon. If you want your name announced on a future episode, you can sign up at patreon.com/Kankakee Podcast. Special thanks to this month's title sponsor, KCC's Office of Continuing Education and Business Partnerships. You can learn more at kcc.edu/continuing ed. Other sponsors that proudly support the podcast include Frank's Appliance Center and Sleep Source, Chicago Dough Company, Noble Dairy Queen Stores, Pigosh Engineering, King Music, Little Me Studio, Edward Jones Financial Advisor Adam Elroy, Taco John's, D. Westfall Jewelers, Nana's Bakery, and Stafari West Avenue. Kankakee Podcast is produced by Pathfinder, a full-service marketing agency in downtown Kankakee. You can learn more at yourpathfinder.io. Our theme song is by Lupe Carroll.
This river carries on.